Have you ever really thought about what success is? When we look at someone successful, a billionaire, a rock star, or a genius, what do we usually think? That person must have something special, right? Their talent, their intelligence, their ambition. We tend to believe their success story starts from within them. Like a lone hero, they conquer the world purely through their hard work and ability. But is that true? Is success just an individual achievement? Let me tell you a story about an unusual place. There was a small town in America called Roseto. The people living there were laborers who had immigrated from Italy. Their eating habits were also a bit strange. Instead of healthy olive oil, they cooked with lard. They smoked a lot, and obesity was common. Yet, there was something peculiar about Roseto. The people there simply weren't dying from heart attacks. The rate of deaths from heart disease in nearby towns was 3 times higher. When doctors and scientists trying to find the reason, they were astonished. The cause wasn't their diet, their exercise, or even their genes. The reason was Roseto itself. The community culture there was so strong that people were never truly alone. 3 generations of families lived in the same house. People would stop and talk to each other on the streets, and they cooked meals for one another. Wealthy individuals didn't flaunt their riches, and the less fortunate weren't looked down upon for their lack of success. They had unknowingly built a protective social structure that shielded them from the pressures of the modern world. The secret to their health wasn't within them, but in the world around them.
So, is the story of success similar? Have we made the same mistake in understanding successful people that the doctors made in understanding Roseto? Perhaps the real story of success doesn't begin with an individual's talent, but with their world, their family, their culture, their birth year, the opportunities they received. All these things combine to weave a story that often remains hidden from us. Let's embark on this journey and try to understand these untold secrets of success. In Canada, hockey is a passion. Kids are prepared for the best leagues from a young age. It's a meritocracy where only the best player moves forward. Family background or money doesn't count here, only talent. At least that's what we tend to believe. But when psychologist Roger Barnsley looked at the player lists of Canada's top junior hockey teams, he noticed a strange pattern. Most of the team's star players, about 40%, were born in January, February, or March. Why is that? Are children born in the early months of the year more talented? Absolutely not. The reason is actually very simple. In Canada, the cutoff date for age class hockey is January 1st. This means that a child who turns 10 on January 2nd plays with a child who will turn 10 in December of the same year. At that age, a 10 to 11 month difference is significant. Children born earlier in the year are naturally bigger, stronger, and more coordinated than their teammates. When selections for all-star teams happen at age 9 or 10, coaches pick these more mature-looking kids. Then, these talented kids receive the best coaching, play with better players, and get to play 75 games a year instead of 20. They also get 2 to 3 times more practice opportunities. What started as a small initial advantage now becomes a huge advantage. By the age of 13-14, due to the extra practice and better coaching, they genuinely become better players. This was their luck, an opportunity they neither earned nor deserved. But this very opportunity became the foundation of their success. This is called a cumulative advantage. Success goes to those who already have a slight advantage, and then that advantage brings them more opportunities, and this cycle continues.
The 10,000-hour rule. This doesn't just happen in hockey. It happens in every field around the world. There's even a magic number for this: 10,000 hours. Psychologists say that to become a world-class expert in anything, at least 10,000 hours of deliberate practice are necessary. Just look at the Beatles. Before they came to America in 1964, they weren't the most famous band in the world. They were a struggling high school rock band. In 1960, they got the opportunity to perform in Hamburg, Germany. But this wasn't a big music festival. They played in strip clubs in Hamburg's red light district. And there, they had to perform 8 hours a day, 7 days a week. This experience transformed them. They learned so many songs, built up their stamina, and their performance gained a polish that no other band had. Hamburg was their 10,000-hour training ground. It was an opportunity they got by chance. Or take two of the biggest names in the computer world, Bill Joy and Bill Gates. Bill Joy is considered the Edison of Silicon Valley. He rewrote the Unix operating system and the Java language. But his story is also one of opportunity. In 1971, when he went to the University of Michigan, it had one of the most advanced computer centers in the world. In those days, computer programming was very tedious work, done through punch cards. A small mistake meant hours of wasted effort. But Michigan was one of the few universities that had a time-sharing system, where you could interact with the computer in real time. Bill Joy unknowingly got such a unique opportunity. He stayed day and night in that computer center. It had a bug that gave him unlimited programming time. By the time he graduated, he had completed his 10,000 hours.
Bill Gates' story is even more unique. He came from a wealthy family in Seattle. His parents enrolled him in a private school, Lakeside. In 1968, that school started a computer club. This was unusual for that time. Lakeside also had a time-sharing terminal. Bill Gates got the opportunity in 8th grade that Bill Joy got in college. After this, he fortunately kept getting one opportunity after another where he could program for hours for free, sometimes in a university lab, sometimes for a local company. By the time he dropped out of Harvard to start Microsoft, he had been programming continuously for 7 years, well beyond his 10,000 hours. Gates himself says, "I was very lucky." His success wasn't just due to his talent, but a gift of the unparalleled opportunities he received. And these opportunities weren't limited to computer access. He was also born at exactly the right time. In 1975, when the personal computer revolution began, Bill Gates was 20 years old. He was young enough to embrace new ideas, but not so young that he would miss this revolution. Apple's Steve Jobs, Microsoft's Steve Ballmer, Sun Microsystems' Bill Joy. All these individuals were born in 1954, 1955, or 1956. Their fate was written not just in their talent, but also in their birth certificate. But is just getting an opportunity enough? Or is the story of success even deeper? Why does a person with an IQ higher than Einstein's fall so far behind in life, while another, who once tried to poison their tutor, becomes the leader of the world's most important projects? The answer lies in cultural legacy. Our upbringing, our family culture, and the stories of our ancestors. All these things profoundly impact our success. Chris Langan is considered the smartest person in America. His IQ is 195, which is off the charts. He started speaking at 6 months old, taught himself to read at 3, and by age 16 he had read complex books like Bertrand Russell's Principia Mathematica. But Langan's childhood was spent in extreme poverty and hardship. His stepfather treated him poorly. Langan received scholarships from 2 top universities, but he dropped out of both. Why? Once, his mother forgot to fill out a financial aid form. Another time, his car broke down and he couldn't attend a morning class. When he requested his professor to shift the class to the afternoon, the professor flatly refused. Langan, despite being so brilliant, couldn't communicate effectively with authority. He couldn't negotiate for himself. He had analytical intelligence, but he completely lacked practical intelligence. That is, social skills and the understanding to navigate the world. Now, let's compare him to Robert Oppenheimer, who led the Manhattan Project. Oppenheimer was also a genius, but he was raised in a wealthy and well-connected family. From childhood, he was taught how to speak with authority, how to get his way. His upbringing was in the concerted cultivation style. His parents intervened, negotiated, and got him placed on probation. Oppenheimer knew how to use the system to his advantage. Langen was never taught this. His life is proof that merely having a high IQ doesn't guarantee success. Success also requires savvy, and this savvy is a legacy we inherit from our family and culture. This legacy can sometimes turn a disadvantage into an advantage. In the 1950s and 60s, New York's top law firms were called white shoe firms, which only hired people from specific backgrounds. Jewish lawyers like Joe Flom, who came from poor immigrant families, couldn't get into these firms. They had to take on work that these big firms considered dirty work, litigation, and hostile corporate takeovers. For 20 years, Flom and other lawyers like him mastered this dirty work. Then, in the 1970s, the corporate world changed. Hostile takeovers became common, and suddenly the work nobody wanted to do became the most profitable. Who were the experts now? Joe Flom and his colleagues. What was a disadvantage for them became their biggest advantage. Their Jewish heritage, often linked to the entrepreneurial culture of the garment industry, gave them the hard work and tenacity needed for this kind of work. Their success story is the story of their legacy. But perhaps the most unique example of legacy is found in Asia, especially in rice paddies. Rice farming is very different from cultivating wheat or corn. It's an extremely complex, labor-intensive, and skill-oriented task. A rice farmer works up to 3,000 hours a year, while a European farmer works only 1,200 hours. In rice farming, there's a direct connection between effort and reward. The more you work, the better the harvest. This work is autonomous. The farmer is their own boss, and it's complex, requiring planning and intelligence. These three things, autonomy, complexity, and the effort-reward connection, make the work meaningful.
For centuries, rice-growing cultures have viewed hard work as a virtue. Their proverbs are proof of this. The person who can get up before sunrise 360 days a year will not fail to make their family rich. This cultural legacy is what drives them forward in mathematics. Being good at math isn't just about intelligence, it's also about attitude. Solving a difficult math problem requires tenacity and persistence, just like the tenacity a farmer needs in their field. When students fill out a long, boring questionnaire in international math tests, the children from countries who complete the most questions are also the ones who top the math test. And who are these top 5 countries? Singapore, South Korea, China, Hong Kong, and Japan, all rice paddy cultures. However, cultural legacy doesn't always provide an advantage. Sometimes it can also become a burden. In the 1980s and 90s, Korean Air had the worst safety record in the world. Their planes were constantly crashing. When an investigation was conducted, the reason was strange. The problem wasn't with the planes or the pilot's skills. The problem was with their culture. Korean culture is a high-power distance culture. This means that authority is given immense respect. Juniors are afraid to disagree with their seniors. In an airplane cockpit, this culture proved fatal. First officers, co-pilots, couldn't speak up even when their captains made wrong decisions. Instead of speaking directly, they communicated in hints using mitigated speech. In one crash, the first officer knew the plane was running out of fuel, but instead of telling air traffic control clearly, he just said, "Sir, we're running out of fuel." The controller didn't understand the urgency and the plane crashed. How did Korean Air solve this problem? They recognized and confronted their cultural legacy. They hired an American, David Greenberg. Greenberg made a simple rule. The official language of Korean Air's cockpit would be English. English is a low-power distance language. It doesn't have the same hierarchy as Korean. While speaking English, pilots could step out of their cultural legacy and adopt a new identity, where a co-pilot could speak directly to their captain. This single change transformed Korean Air. Today, their safety record is among the best airlines in the world. So, what exactly is the story of success? It's like the people of Roseto, whose secret to health was their community. It's like those hockey players, whose fate was determined by their birth month. It's like Bill Gates, who got the right opportunity at the right time. It's like Joe Flom, whose disadvantage became his advantage. It's like those rice farmers, whose legacy of hard work propelled them in math.
Success is not the triumph of a single individual. It's a gift. It's a legacy. It's the result of the opportunities we receive from our history, our society, and our luck. In one of the poorest areas of New York, the South Bronx, there's a school named KIPP. The children there come from extremely poor families. But in math, the results are on par with children from America's wealthiest cities. What did KIPP do? They understood that the biggest disadvantage for poor children is the long summer vacation, during which they fall behind wealthier children in academics. So KIPP shortened the summer vacation. They lengthened the school day from 7:25 a.m. to 5 p.m., plus classes on Saturdays. They gave the children more time, made them work harder. They brought the culture of the rice paddy to the South Bronx. They gave these children a chance, an opportunity. Our world could be a better place if we understood that talent alone isn't enough to achieve success. We need to replace the patchwork of lucky breaks and arbitrary advantages with a society that creates opportunities for everyone, for every single person. Because an outlier, in the end, isn't truly an outlier. They are a product of their time, their culture, and their legacy. And when we understand this, we not only tell stories of success, but also open the path to writing more successful